Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Michelle from Divisions of Program Promotion. Welcome to Utah Live Webinar. Glad to see you all here. Well, today's topic is about communication practice in new media. Our lecturer speaker today is Miss Cynthia. She's from Faculty of Communication Industry, Sungai Long campus. After the topic sharing, there is a Q&A section. If you have any question, please click the Q&A button below the screen here. Due to the time limit, we may not able to answer all the questions. Only selected question will be answered. Zoom is our main paid platform. At the same time, we are live on our Utah official Facebook page, which is Utah for You. If any friend, your friend related any friend you want to join our Zoom, please join us Facebook page and Utah for You. All right, let's welcome our speaker, Miss Cynthia.
Hi everyone. Actually, I would like this to be more interactive, but because of the nature of this this webinar, so but before I start, I can see that there are 4 attendees. There are 4 of you here, right? Okay. Before I start, I want to know something, right? Like, why are you here? Like, what is it that you want to know? If I can read your mind, I would think that you are here to understand more about what communication is. And I would also think that you would want to know more about what corporate communication is all about. So basically what I'm here today is to explain to you what is corporate communication. And because we are in the day and age of new media, I am also going to explain to you how new media or how we incorporate new media into corporate communication practices. Okay, so let me start my presentation. Okay. So the title of my presentation is Communication Practices in New Media. However, I would assume that all of you would have, some of you might have an idea of what communication is, while some of you might not have an idea of what communication is because I don't know your background, but I'm just going to assume that half-half, you know and you don't know, okay? So for those who don't know, communication basically encompasses a wide spectrum. So from advertising is a form of communication, journalism, broadcasting, design is also a form of communication, public relations, and corporate communications. So these are a few areas of communication, but for my presentation today, I'm going to touch specifically on corporate communication, okay? So what is corporate communication? Now, you can see on my screen, I have shared different types of brands with you. So let me just go through one by one, just to get a perception on what brands are or what corporate communication is. So let's start with Plus. You all know what Plus is, right? You look at the logo, it's very apparent. Plus basically means the highway concessionaire. Now, if I were to ask you, what do you think of Plus? Like how I used to ask my students, and they come up with all kinds of answers. So some of them would say that, oh, Plus is a highway, okay? Then some would say, oh no, Plus is not a highway. They're a toll plaza. They take money from us. And then they're not happy. They say, oh no, Plus is just not great because, you know, they are taking money from us. And then, but the roads are still jammed up. So it doesn't make any difference if I'm taking the highway or I'm taking the federal highway, you know. So that is their perception of plus, right? Now the next logo you see need not have any explanation because it's a star, and that logo is basically Mercedes-Benz. So when I ask students this question, what do you think of Mercedes-Benz? A very they usually come up with very good answers like, oh, you know, Mercedes-Benz is luxury, it's luxurious. What else? It's expensive, you know. People who owns Mercedes-Benz are rich. So we get all positive remarks, and the brand itself, the company itself has very positive reputation. Okay. Now the next logo, what do you see? You see PTPTN. Now when I ask my students PTPTN, and then the first thing that comes to their mind is like, oh no, you know, they want our money, they want us to pay back our loans. But nobody says, oh, PTPTN is a body that helps us financially by giving us loans. But most of the students will say, oh no, you know, after I study, then I've got to pay back my loans. So again, right, it's negative kind of a perception towards the organization. But the organization is there for a reason. It's to help students. But how is it so that when you ask students what is their perception of the brand or the organization, something negative will come out from them. So that is what we call reputation. So each organization has their own reputation among the public. Now let's take a look at the last brand, Maxis. Again, I always ask my students, what do you think of Maxis? And some of them will say, oh, it's a very long-standing telco or service provider. Some students will say, oh, you know, bad coverage. Others would say, oh no, the package is not great. You know, there are better telcos out there like Celcom, wider coverage, you know. So there again, you see, if you ask different people about their perception of a particular brand, you would get different types of responses. And basically, what you do in corporate communication is to help build the reputation of these organizations. Okay? So basically, when you're talking about corporate communication, you are looking at one thing, which is managing the reputation of an organization. That's why it's called corporate communication. Now, in corporate communication itself, we're looking at two types of communication. We have internal communication, which basically means that you are looking at communication within the organization, which involves the employees. So communication in an organization does not only involve customers or consumers, but there's more to it. There are a lot of other publics and a lot of parties that is involved. One of them, employees, the people who are working within the organization. Okay. You have to manage the communication flow between the managers, between top management, all the way down to the lowest ranking employees. So we call that internal communication because it's within the organization. The next form of communication would be external communications. Now, external communication basically encompasses communications with outside parties, or we call them outside publics. And these publics are basically your customers, people who patronize you, right? Investors, people who invest money in your organization so that you can do research and development, you have money to grow and expand, yeah? The government, because every organization deals with government agencies. And as you know, when you deal with the government sector, it's a whole new world and a whole new way of and mode of communication. Okay, there's a lot of letters to write, a lot of red tape, so you have to know what to do, you have to know what to say to government agencies. And finally, we have the media. Now, media partners, and media here, I'm talking about media owners, you know, like Media Prima, TV3, and TV7, your radio stations, Hits FM, you know, these are media partners, newspapers, magazines. So when you're dealing with the media, we call that external communications. So therefore, in essence, corporate communications involve internal and external communications with different types of publics that is directly and indirectly involved with the organization. Now, within corporate communication itself, or within all these communications, you are looking at different areas. Let me go through the different areas of corporate communication. We start from the top. Reputation management. Now, a lot or the major part of corporate communication is about managing the reputation of the organization. Now, every organization has a reputation, be it a negative reputation or a positive reputation. So whatever reputation it is, you have to manage it. If it's a negative reputation, you have to turn the negative into a positive reputation. If the company has already a positive reputation, your job then is to make sure that the organization maintains that positive reputation. Okay. Now, after reputation management, we have employee communication. Also, another aspect of corporate communication. Employee communication will look into the various ways on how to communicate with the employees. Next is corporate responsibility. Now, corporate responsibility, or as we call it, CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. Now, it's very huge right now, where organizations contribute back to society. In any form of resources. It can be financially, it can be in terms of manpower, and they do it to make the society better. We call that corporate social responsibility. So they can also like donate money, you know, to the public for a cause. So yeah. Now the next would be public relations. Public relations, basically you are learning how to deal with your customers and your consumers. That's why they're called the publics. Yeah. So public relations is actually part of corporate communication. And then we have investor relations. How do you manage your investor relationship? Because as investors, I think what's important is for you as an organization, you're supposed to inform them of your financial status, what are your expansion plans, what are your long-term goals, short-term goals, because your investors are the ones that will be giving you the money and giving you the resources for you to expand and grow. Right? So it's very important for an organization to maintain positive and good relationship with the investors. And finally, media relations. Media relations, we're looking into how do you deal with the media, okay? Because you want to make sure that you deal with the media in the right manner, because you are basically depending on them to give you coverage, coverage for your organization. So you have to make sure that your relationship with the media is good. Okay, so these are the different areas within corporate communication. You can ask me questions later on. Yeah. All right. So communication aside, what is important is the media itself. How you want to communicate, or how is the message from your organization going out to the public? How is it being channeled out to your respective publics? And we call that the media. So this is where the media comes into play. Now, if you are familiar with media, or if you already have a background in media, you would know that we have two types of media. We have traditional media, and then we have new media. So let me touch on traditional media and what are the different characteristics of traditional media. Now, traditional media and corporate communication, basically here we're talking about non-digital methods. And we're looking at media such as radio, newspaper, television, direct mail, flyers, billboards. Now, if you look at all these different types of media, they are basically one-way communication, meaning to say that there's very minimal interaction between the public or the audience and also the organization or the media. Okay, so information is basically going one way, is one way lah. There is no two-way relationship going on there. There is no feedback. Maybe a little bit of feedback when, like, for example, newspapers, you know, if you remember back then when you were reading newspapers, there is letters to the editor, you know. Yeah, so that is the only little bit of feedback that the public can give and when they write into the media. But other than that, you know, that's about it. So basically what the publics do is they just read whatever news, whatever information that is put there in the media. So we call that traditional media. But today, in this day and age, we have new media. And if you can look at the logo at the side, all the different types of logos, all your social media is considered new media. So now what is new media? New media basically, it's interactive media, meaning to say that there is two-way communication. There is a lot of creative participation in terms of content, because now content can be generated by the users. Your Facebook content, you know, all of us are basically content providers, right? We don't depend on a specific media anymore. Like now, when I ask my students, where do you go and get your news from? And the first thing they tell me is, oh, I get it from Facebook because my friend shared this news article. You know, my friend is posting this. So they get their information from friends instead of the media owners themselves, you know, like for example, the Star or NST. So times have changed, yeah. New media also provides the public's opportunity for community formation. Community formation here meaning groups. So as you can see, there is various groups being formed on different social media platforms, and these groups are basically based on shared interests. So you have parenting groups. Let's say if you're a parent, you know, I'm using parenting because I'm a parent and I want a parenting group. Yeah. So yeah, so if you're interested in parenting, you probably join a parenting group. If you've got a particular hobby, like for example, running, biking, fishing, you would join a specific group for your specific hobbies. Baking, cooking, you know, there are so many different types of online communities these days. Okay, so with the introduction of new media, it has totally changed corporate communication, because now everything is 24 hours non-stop. Whereas, you know, back then, 10, 15 years ago, when we were still relying on traditional media, there is always a time frame, you know that you're only going to get news when the newspaper man comes to your house the next day at 5:30 a.m., for example. Yeah. But now you get news any time of the day, as and when it happens. So it's really amazing how times have changed and how we're getting our information. Same goes to corporate communication practices. It's 24 hours now, round the clock, and not only that, it's global. It's not only limited to a specific geographical area. Okay. Now, I'm just going to show you an example. Okay, if you're really interested in corporate communication, you would be coming up with a lot of campaigns for the particular company that you're working for. So what is a campaign? All right, so this is a particular campaign for Plus. Now I gave you an example of Plus earlier on in the beginning of this presentation. All right, I know you can't answer me and I'm answering my own questions, but that's fine. All right, Okay, so basically, just to give you a little bit of background on Plus, the reputation for Plus is basically on the decline, especially with the newer generation, because the newer generation thinks that Plus Highway or the Plus concessionaire is just, they're not a service provider, but they're just a highway concessionaire. Okay, so they don't see any value to the brand or value to the organization. But Plus did like a survey among the older generation, and they found out that the older generation has higher opinion of Plus because they come from trunk roads. You know what trunk road is, right? Trunk roads are basically small roads. You know, like 20, 30 years ago, we don't have highways, right? Ask our parents. When they travel from here to, let's say, Cameron Highlands, all they use is the small roads, the small winding roads, and sometimes it'll take a whole day just to reach Cameron Highlands. But now we can go to Cameron Highlands, let's say, like what, 4 hours? Because of what? Because of all these highways, these main highways. Okay, so to the older generation, right, these highways, these highway concessionaires are basically godsend, you know, because they think that, wow, because of you, you've cut short our journey by so many hours, so we are really thankful. But if you ask the younger generation, to them it's like, nah, so what, you know, they're just building toll plazas and taking out money. So what Plus did was they are trying to address this issue among the young people. So now we call this corporate branding. And corporate branding is a very, very important aspect under reputation management. Because basically what you're doing is you're trying to manage the brand of an organization. So I'm going to show you an example of a campaign from start to finish. And bearing in mind that campaigns basically always start with an issue. There's always an issue to be addressed. It doesn't matter whether the organization has a good reputation or a negative reputation, but there is always something to be addressed. Okay, so have a look at this as an example. And in this campaign, you will also see the different types of media that is being used and incorporated to reach out to the younger generation. Because this whole campaign is targeted to the younger generation as they have a negative perception of Plus. Okay, so I'm gonna share this video with you.
Since 1988, Plus has served as the nation's primary transportation and socio-economic gateway. For the older generation of drivers, Plus Highway was a significant upgrade from the federal trunk roads, provided a much safer and comfortable traveling experience. However, since 2016, Plus's reputation has declined rapidly, especially among the newer generation of travelers under 40s. Plus was seen as merely a toll operator, not the service provider they are. While Plus has introduced many services targeted at the younger generations, there is still a disconnect with the brand. Additionally, increased competition from budget airlines and train services, the call for toll abolishment have only made matters worse. The challenge was to instill brand value back among the newer generation. So how can Plus redefine their identity from a toll operator to a service provider? We launched Ikhlas Daripada Plus, an integrated festive campaign focused on safety and core values to shift public perception of Plus. We debuted the campaign with Shouxin, our first festive web film for Chinese New Year 2019. The film showcased the importance and value of giving sincerely to our loved ones.
你可不可以不要做到上次这样，蓝贝贝？
什么老贝贝，每次都是你吃完的啦。
In addition to that, we followed up with various activations. With the success and learnings from the Chinese New Year campaign, we applied it to our Hari Raya campaign. We launched our second festive web film, Tumpang. The film highlights the value of gratitude and how a safe return is the best gift to our loved ones during Hari Raya holidays.
Raya. Raya. Masih Batin. Sama-sama. Siap mana? Assalamualaikum.
Supplementing the film, we also released Hero Selamat, an 8-part webisode on road safety PSA. Also, we ran similar activations to the Chinese New Year campaign with unique Raya gifts. By proactively engaging, entertaining, and educating through the various touchpoints, we've been able to reverse the decline of the brand's reputation. Shouxin and Tumpang surpassed expectations and went on to be among the top favorites for Chinese New Year and Hari Raya. While it's encouraging to see the positive results and the start of our brand transformation journey, the real work lies ahead. Moving forward, Plus will genuinely and sincerely pursue our brand purpose of taking good care of you every step of the way.
Yes, so that was basically what I meant by a campaign from Plus. Okay, so if you were to pay attention, right, you would notice that a campaign basically encompasses identifying a problem for the company, identifying who the target audience is, who they want to target the campaign to, identifying the different types of strategy on how to solve whatever issue that is happening or the challenges, and obviously what type of media that is best selected to reach out to the particular target audience. So as you can see from this campaign, right, the target audience is the younger generation, and because the younger generation are basically all on new media and social media, right? Therefore, when they came up with that strategy, you have to look, if you pay attention, you will notice that they use different types of strategy. They do on-ground events, okay? They did a loyalty program, and they also have a time travel app. They came up with an application. Now, these apps are basically, again, a different form of new media. So new media doesn't necessarily mean just social media, but new media can also be in the form of applications. Nowadays, we just download apps. Our whole phone is all filled with apps. We've got apps for everything. Every single thing we've got apps. So, and Plus is very smart because they identify that. So what they did was they came up with an app. So now I think if you would have used it before, when you travel, you have to plan your time, plan your itinerary. So the app will tell you which area is jammed, when you should leave your house, when the roads are clear. So this basically appeals to the younger generation. So what does all this mean? All this basically means that it wants to enhance the reputation of Plus Highway among the younger generation. That is why they come up with all these kind of strategies to reach out to that particular group. Okay, so using new media is one of them, and I think it's very important because there is no point in using traditional media to reach out to this particular group of people, because they don't read newspapers anymore. They don't watch TV like NTV7 or TV3 or RTM1 anymore. Okay, now everything is YouTube, you know, short videos, over the top videos, TikToks, you know. So times have changed, media has changed. So even the landscape of media landscape has changed. So everything has changed. So therefore, you come back to the campaign that I showed you. If you look at, or if you notice that towards the end, they had a lot of social media feedback, Facebook feedback from the younger generation saying that, oh wow, you know, this is the first time I did not skip these ads, because the ads, basically the ads means the advertising. The advertisements basically meant something to them because they could relate to the advertisements. Okay, so they found that, hey, you know, this advertisements is basically quite impactful. That's why they gave very positive feedback on their social media. We sort of said that to the types of media that is being used could enhance the reputation of the organization. Okay, so I'm going to continue with my presentation. Okay. Right. So after viewing, or after understanding more about what a campaign is all about and what you'll be doing, I would assume that you are here because you're interested in the Bachelor of Corporate Communication program, right? So, okay, just to give you a brief overview of the courses that is available within the program. Rest assured, the program is very well designed, and it incorporates different types or different aspects, all from writing, planning, design, events, because events, a lot of students love doing events. Yeah. We also have a thesis that you need to do, and also industrial training. You have to undergo at least one trimester of industrial training. Okay. We also have interesting courses like financial communication, media relations, public speaking, social responsibility and sustainability. As you can see design studio there, because I think in this day and age, one needs to know different things. So let's say if your job is a corporate communication practitioner, but I think we also need to know how to do design. And trust me, a lot of our corporate communication students, they are really good in design. They can also do editing. They can do production work. They are like superb. Okay, they can do everything, because knowledge is very empowering, number one. And number two, at this day and age, you need to be marketable. And the only way to be marketable is knowledge and being able to do different things. And you'll be really, really sought after. And trust me, our program covers everything you need, from, like I said, writing, strategic planning, reputation management, theory, you know, thesis, and your final year project, which is your events planning and management. Now, let me just go through what the events planning and management course is all about. Now, the events planning and management course is separated into 2 trimesters. The first trimester, you'll be doing the planning of a particular campaign of your choice. So you choose what you want to do. And then the second semester, you will execute the campaign. Now under execution, you will carry out the whole campaign. So it's basically quite practical and very hands-on. And the students love it a lot. So they put in a lot of their heart and soul into it. Like this current trimester, I'm actually, me and another lecturer, we are supervising our final year students. They're talking about recycling coffee waste. You know, coffee, I'm sure all of us like to drink coffee. Some of us even brew our own coffee. But what do we do with the waste, right? Do we throw it away or do we recycle them? And you know that if you throw it away, it will have effect on the environment, you know. So basically what they do is they're going to teach the public on how to recycle coffee waste. Yeah, so that is our current students project. The project is called Bean from Bin, B-E-A-N from Bin, B-I-N. You can look them up on Facebook, okay? Yeah, so our students basically take the events planning and management course very, very seriously. And it's a fun thing to do, you know, they really enjoy it. There's a lot of teamwork going on and it feels like it's practical, yeah. So basically whatever that they have learned throughout the 3 years, that's where they put it into good use and hands-on, okay? Now, just to give you a brief overview on what our program structure is, it's a 3-year course. Within the 3 years, we have 2 long trimesters and 1 short trimester. Now, each long trimester is 14 weeks and 1 short trimester is 7 weeks. Industrial training is 1 trimester, which is your long trimester, and that's compulsory, so you cannot escape. Yeah. So I would say that the Bachelor of Corporate Communication program is very much balanced in terms of practical and also theoretical, which is good for you because then you know what the theories are, what the theoretical knowledge is, and then you can apply it. Yeah. All right. So I guess with this, I would say thank you. And now I would like to open the floor for discussion. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands. You can press a button. I think there's a button there for you to press. And you can raise your hands. And then I will answer you. Okay? So do we have any questions? Or are you guys shy? I know usually like when I do this in real life, right? Physically, when I open the floor for discussions, everyone would usually be quiet. And then when I end the session and then they come, hey, I've got this to ask you, I've got that to ask you. So I will open the floor for discussion first. If you've got any questions, do ask. Any questions? Hands? Raise? So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, if you don't have any questions, all right. Let me just how should I say this? These are the common questions that I get when I do these sort of presentations physically, okay? Now, the students would ask me, what is the difference between public relations and corporate communications? Because to them, it's like, it's the same thing, right? But to be honest with you, it's not, okay? Now, public relations, basically you're dealing with the public itself, which is the customers and the consumers, your patrons. That's called public relations. And public relations is mostly branding of a specific product or service. Whereas corporate communication is basically talking about branding of a corporation and an organization. So it's got nothing to do with the product or the service, but to do with the organization. So that is the really fine line between what is public relations and what is corporate communication. Okay. I also get students who ask me career prospects because they want to know what can they do after they graduate, which is obviously very important, right? We all want a job after we graduate. So my answer to them is it is a very flexible program. You can basically go anywhere. You can, if you graduate from corporate communication, you can go into advertising, you can go into broadcasting, you can go into marketing, you can go into design, anywhere. You can even work with the media. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that when you graduate from corporate communication, you got to work in corporate communication. No, because there's many aspects of corporate communication and communication which can be slipped into different types of industries. Yeah. So don't be worried. Okay. There are lots of jobs out there for you once you graduate. Yeah. Obviously they also asked me what is the pay like. The pay isn't too bad. But in this day and age, again, because of the virus and all, right, so I don't know, it might be a little bit challenging in terms of pay, but it won't be so bad. No, 2,000 plus 3,000 starting pay. I don't think 3,000, probably 2,000 plus. That's what my students tell me. Maximum maybe 3,001, 3,003, depending. Okay. Yeah. What else do they ask? Oh, I also asked them, because when I get applications to the corporate com program, I also ask them why they are here. And some of them, they say that they have a genuine interest in corporate com, which is great. Some of them thinks that it's glamorous. Yes, it's, of course, it's a glamorous job. You get to meet a lot of people, especially, let's say, if you're working for a high-flying organization or international organization. Let's say, for example, you're working for Mercedes-Benz, it's a luxurious company. Okay, so obviously all the events that they host is definitely going to be, luxurious, posh. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, I would say. But on the other hand, there is definitely a lot of hard work as well. Okay, so it's not all fun and games. One thing I would like to just to preempt you is that if you're really keen in corporate com, and if you're going to work in corporate com or going to work in the industry, it involves a lot of long hours. Yeah, the hours are definitely long. It's not a 9 to 5 job, but again, nothing is now. Tell me what job is not is 9 to 5, unless you're a clerk or something, then yeah, you get 9 to 5. But other than that, all of us just work around the clock. Okay, so same here. Yes, it's glamorous, yes, it's fun, yes, you get to meet a lot of people, because a lot of students that join corporate com, they come and tell me, Miss, I want to join corporate com because I'm a very outgoing person, which is great. We need a lot of outgoing people. We also need people who are vocal, who you can articulate your thoughts in terms of your speech, writing. Corporate com in corps requires a lot of writing, yeah. So I don't think that it's all about just glam and glitz and glamour and presentations, but it's also a lot of writing. You write a lot of press releases, you write a lot of corporate materials. Okay. Yeah, that's about it actually. So basically I've covered career prospects. You can also do PR, if you are in corporate com. You can also work in PR. There's nothing stopping you. Okay. Yeah. So I've covered career prospects. I've covered working hours. What's the difference between corporate com and PR? What else? Do you all have any other things to ask me? I think that's basically it. Yeah. Okay, so if you guys have nothing to ask me, so I guess I will pass the floor to Michelle. Michelle, you want to take over?
Hi, Miss Cynthia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Cynthia, sharing. Actually, just now you share is most of the students when they come for program promotion department, they will ask,
Yeah, that's right.
and they will always ask which one is the better. I'm also graduate from mass comm. I graduate from Taiwan lah. And I always tell the students, it depends which area you would like to join, which industry. For example, corporate comp, they can be PR. Like, I think some of the students, they don't know, actually we have two campus. One is, which is we at Sungai Long campus, another one is at Kampa. So corporate comp will be at Sungai Long campus and PR will be the Kampa campus. So another one is under Miss Cynthia. You also head of the mass comm. You're in charge of journalism in Chinese media as well. And most of our lecturer, I previously working in media line. I also know them lah. They are teaching this program. I think if the student really want to become a reporter, they can join this lah.
No, yes, definitely they can. That's why it's a very broad the scope is very broad lah. So they can go anywhere. They can be journalists, you know, they can be in advertising, they can also be in broadcasting. And because if you remember that the screen that I shared, we've got some design courses as well. So the design courses can basically cover the design aspect. So students can also go into design and production, no problem.
That will be under broadcasting, right?
Yes, so if they want to know more, they can go into broadcasting, and they can also go into media and creative studies.
Yeah, this is showing now media and creative study. Also at Sungai Long campus is also under Faculty of a Creative Industry. Another is just now Miss India mentioned broadcasting. So they are more focused in the film production, more on behind the scene. Like corporate com, I think almost is at the front now.
Yeah, corporate com is like frontliners.
Compared to broadcaster. So another three program, I think I need to highlight a bit lah for Kampa. Another one is journalism. This is no Chinese media. This is focused only in English journalism, which is this offer at Kampa. And another one is advertising and PR. Just now we also have already mentioned before lah. These two programs at Kampa campus. Actually, I think most of the students, they don't know we have total 7 programs related to communications. So 4 is at Sungai Long campus, another 3 at Kampa. If the student have any further inquiry, then visit our website, study.utah.edu.ny or the study.utah.edu.ny/cn. This is more on Mandarin lah. And that we encourage the student like our Facebook Utah for you, because we have any latest program or latest like today our webinar, we will promote at the place lah. And also can reach us our hotline and the email inquiry at utah.edu.ny. Yeah, I think the student they get a very full picture of the communication pathway.
Yeah,
they are very luckily in this journalism this time lah, because previous time we study communication, mass comm. Everyone looking for mass comm.
Yeah, and because like my talk was on new media, right? We didn't have Facebook back then. So what we only had was a piece of paper. We only had a piece of paper or a flyer, and then that's it, you know. Okay, it's not as interactive as it is right now, where we have, you know, webinars, and then you can go to Facebook, you can go to WeChat. There's so many things, and there's so many ways and means and ways on how you want to reach out to the organization. So Utah itself, as an example, is an organization on its own. So you see, how Utah basically utilizes different types of social media to reach out to the publics, and one of the publics is you, which is the potential students. Yeah.
So before we end our today webinar, I think some of the students maybe they just joined late, but don't worry. Today our webinar will be recorded at our official Facebook, Utah for You. For further inquiry, you may contact us. I want to do some advertise a bit. The next webinar is tomorrow. It's online presentation software. It's conducted by our CEE lecturer. Also same time, 8:30 to 9:30. If you have any friends that would like to learn some online presentation software, they can join tomorrow. Stay tuned our Utah for You and join our webinar. Besides that, just now, before our webinar start, we have shown the video. Actually, it's our Cyber Open Day video. Later on, you can see the clear version on our Utah for You or our official website, utah.edu.ny. So our Cyber Open Day will start on 8 August until 30 August. 9 to 5 daily. So every student that they have any question can looking for us. If you want to looking for Miss Cynthia, no problem. You can through me. I can reach Miss Cynthia help to answer your questions.
Yes, you can also get me from the Utah website. I think we have a directory, right?
Yeah. So
you can email me straight.
So yeah. Related communication program, you really don't know how to choose, you can refer to us, divisions of program promotion, or look for Miss Cynthia. She will help you, and we are there to help you. So I think, thank you, Miss Cynthia again. Thank you, your sharing. I think the student is more clear. Include me, is more clear the new media trend already, because I'm old media last time.
I'm also old media.
We have the knowledge. We need to teach the student new media things. Yeah.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
John, for joining us today, and have a nice day.
Okay, bye. And hope to see you
At Utah.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.